You're gonna want to sit down for this. April 22nd. April 22nd. April 22nd was one of the worst days of my life. It's cold in this hospital, I remember thinking as I lie there on a backboard, blinking over and over and over again to see if I could get the blurring of the glossy, bright white room to clear up. Something must be wrong with my contacts, I thought. I wish I could take them out, but I can't move my arms because I was strapped down on the board so tightly. "Can you tell me your name again?" the nurse said as she stared over me with her clipboard. "Tina," I said, trying to put together in my mind where I was and why. "Tina, do you know where you are and what happened to you?" she asked, almost as if she could read my mind. I wanted to have the answer. I really did. But in that moment, as fear struck my entire body, I quickly realized I had no idea where I was or what was happening to me. Have you ever looked at things one way, and then after a certain real-life experience, you suddenly gain insight about that thing and you see it totally differently? Example, as a young married woman in my early 20s, I looked at pregnant people a certain way till I was actually pregnant and dealing with discomfort, nausea, and anxiety from carrying another human around. I had new insight on the same topic because I had experienced it, and it helped me see things and people in a new, healthier light. Henry David Thoreau quoted, "It's not what you look at, but what you see." So many things that I was looking at, I didn't actually see till after this accident. I was taking some things for granted. I think some other things I was just looking at like most people, but not seeing it for what it actually was. Insight is the difference between looking at something and actually seeing it, meaning you have inwardly changed because you saw it. So I wanted to share some things I now see and hope that it will cause you to take a look at some things in your life and see them differently and hopefully for the better. First of all, I want to talk about the accident. And it was just a crazy thing. I was stopping at a traffic light, and I happened to be right outside a fire department, and out of nowhere, some lady pulls around the corner. She's going about 55 miles an hour in a 35, and slammed her Jeep into my car. And it happened in a blink of an eye. I was unconscious for almost 5 minutes, and I'm sure she was too. They called Care Flight, and I don't really know all the things that happened. I don't remember all the things that day. But I ended up with over 200 muscles with soft tissue damage, a separated AC joint, a C-spinal injury, and a severe concussion. On a concussion scale, they have grades of concussion, and it's like 1 to 20, and like 1 to 7 is like mild to moderate, and 7 to 12 is moderate to severe, and then anything over a 12 is severe. And mine was a 16. And so just to kind of explain a little bit of like what I was experiencing, dizziness, a constant headache for 90 days that never went away, that whole 90 days, passing out, lack of concentration, absolutely no energy, memory loss. And I remember this really vividly. My mom looked at me about 2 weeks after my accident, and her words, not mine, "It's like the lights are on, but Tina's not there." And why do I tell you this? Because most of my injuries were injuries that you can't see to the physical eye. And sharing where I was and where it can help you see the miracle of where I am now. And I see accidents differently now. I hear people say, well, Tina was in a car accident, but she's okay. I used to do the same thing when I heard people were in car accidents. I was like, oh my gosh, are they okay? As in, are they alive in a life-altered state, or are they in a coma? You know, you want to hear that they're okay, right? That they're not, their life hasn't been completely altered. And then relief sets in, and you go along your day. And that's how I used to look at car accidents. But now I see them differently. Those not close to me thought I was okay or fine. But those people who knew me and took the time to see knew differently. 5 therapies a week for the last 120 days says different. 5 therapies a week so that I can walk without getting dizzy, read words on a page without them floating off to the right, and sort of being able to fly on a plane and getting here okay says differently. Now, when people tell me that they were in a car accident, my empathy goes from like 0 to 10 because I see it now. But I also see how not bad it was. I'm alive, standing here, cleared to fly to seminar with an almost clean bill of health 4 months later. It could have been so much worse. And I am gratefully aware that I could have been paralyzed, had children in my car, or not made it even out alive. However, I looked at a lot of things before my accident, things that I see differently now after having a brain injury. I want to give you 8 things that I see clearer or differently than before. Number 1, health matters. I feel like this is an ongoing theme this year. I started a health journey over a year ago. It was because I wanted to feel great, not just okay. Okay wasn't good enough anymore. Of course I wanted to lose a few pounds, but it wasn't about losing weight. It was about feeling great so I could be at my best for the people I love. If I didn't know what it felt like to be unhealthy, though, I wouldn't know what it feels like to be healthy. So I'm grateful for the journey, especially the journey of the last year, learning what my body needs, not just a fad diet, but a lifestyle change that I could maintain long after the desire to do what's hard goes away. Little did I know that that decision expedited my brain healing to around a half year versus 2 years to potentially the rest of my life. My neurologist said that my healing was quicker than most people with a grade 16 concussion, and that the main difference was I was healthy going into the accident. The next 2 to 10 years of my life could have looked drastically different, and I'm so grateful that I made the decision to lead a healthy lifestyle with food and exercise. And I'd like to invite you to rate your healthy lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, one being I eat what I want when I want. I really don't pay attention to labels or what's in my foods, and I would say that I struggle with sluggishness, brain fog, headaches, trouble sleeping, or IBS, or other indigestion problems at least once a week. And 10 being I know exactly what my body needs for fuel and what my body tolerates and what it doesn't. I eat clean most, if not every day, to feel good so that I can serve myself and others. It's rare when I feel bad, and when I do, it's most likely because of something I put in my body that didn't belong there. Why hadn't I started this health journey earlier? I don't know. I looked at it differently then. It's not so bad. I don't feel that bad. When I make a little more money, I'll get healthier when I can afford to shop organic instead of processed. I was pushing off my best self and putting off the best days of my life. I see it differently now. It nearly saved my life, or at the very least, gave me 2 to 10 years of my life back. So what's the point here? Being healthy is crucial to your growth and development of your business, relationships, and life. It will speed up the progress like it sped up my recovery. Something to think about. How does this topic relate to your personal business and life right now? And what is one thing that you can do to improve your health? Number 2, who you hang around matters. My therapist was positive. Her name was Megan. When I got frustrated with my memory or my balance or the fact that I couldn't read, she would look at me and with a smile, she would say, "You're getting better every day, and this is only temporary. You got this." I believe God knew I needed her in my life since positivity is in my top 5 strengths. She was the perfect fit, and I'm determined to have her on my team one day. You know, my mantra that Kevin Keppel from Field Support gave me after every coaching call was, "You're healing. and you're powerful. You're healing, and you're powerful. I would say that when I woke up and when I went to bed. I felt different after saying it. Not at first, but gradually I believed it. My directors, constant support and love and grace from them. My directors are some of the funniest, most caring boss babes on the planet. God gave them to me, and I am so blessed. Christina, Chelsea, Kristen, Caitlin, Taylor, Amanda, Bree, Jenna, Sydney, Sierra, and Sam, would you please stand up for a minute? Thank you for praying for me and with me, being emotionally and physically supportive, and taking care of me in ways that you will never know on how much affected me on this side of eternity. I love you all so very much. Thank you. And my mom, goodness gracious, my mother. She took time before seminar to write the girls in my Bible study, which are also some of my sales directors, a card about how proud she was of us. And I knew she was doing it for my directors. I didn't know she was also doing it for me. And her words, Tina, I'm so proud of you and the way you persevered through your adversity. You are such a good example of what God can do in our lives. I can't wait to see what's next. You certainly will be a force, one like we have not seen before. May God keep pouring out his love on you and you on him. Love, Mom. So on a scale of 1 to 10, being the people that I spend time with drain my energy and do not bring me joy, to 10 being I surround myself with people who are joyful, positive, and challenge me in healthy ways. What's the point? My healing process was expedited because of the people I surrounded myself with when I was able to be around people. If they are not positive, they are most likely toxic to your growth. How does this relate to your personal business right now? Think that question. And what's one thing you can do to improve this? Number 3, what you tell yourself matters. Tina 2.0 became my motto soon after I started expediting my healing process. You know, it was Kristen Erickson who gave me a new thought about how I can choose what to think about with this outcome. I can choose what to think about how I'm going to be when this is over. I can choose to believe this was going to be a setback, or I could choose to think it would be a catalyst to support my goals, my future goals, and God's purpose for my life, and that I would be better for it. So Tina 2.0 became my new goal, to be better than I was before, and to go through my therapy and exercises at 110% and get the most out of this, as if it was going to be a step towards massive growth. So my new affirmations read like this. I call them my daily truths. I am a creative spirit with endless possibilities on any given day. My brain has countless abilities to solve problems and strategize anything. The joy in my heart is contagious and uplifting. I'm putting out beautiful and happy vibes. I have bounding energy that gives me positive vibrations and attracts a multitude of people. I'm sexy and beautiful inside and out. People are attracted to my magnetic personality. I love people and they love me. I'm full of gratitude and thanksgiving in my heart. My soul is pure thanks to Jesus, and he forgives me and loves me every second. I use my time wisely for the purposes of God and my family and my future. God pours his blessings in me like every day. Every day is a gift. I love to dance and sing praises to the Lord. Negativity bounces off of me, and positivity is constantly running through my veins. I produce leaders who produce leaders. I daily speak love and life into people and tell them how God sees them. Encouragement and positivity and truth flow freely from my lips. People are amazing, and it's my job to tell them. I love pointing out beautiful qualities in people when I see them. I notice love in abundance. It surrounds me. I surround myself with people who are loving and caring and positive and achieving big things. I love to break records and do things never done before. I thrive on maximizing my gifts and talents for the betterment of others and my family and myself. I love to see how far I can push myself. I ask myself great questions. I start each day with joy and gratitude and a smile. My heart is warm. I love this day. I will not let it go away untouched by my energy and intention. It will be a beautiful, productive day because I am choosing it to be. Wow, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Now let's go, babe. It's time to change the world. Today is the best day ever. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just passing the 120-day mark since my accident. And although a few symptoms are hanging on, I still have what I call slower brain days. My brain is operating on good days better than it ever has before the accident, with more clarity and creativity than ever before. And I believe it's because I believed it would be that, because I told myself. So what you see now is the beginning of Tina 2.0. All right? What's the point? The point is, emotions are real. And the way you talk to yourself has a much bigger impact on your life than you even know. I thought I knew. But knowledge versus personal experience sometimes is a massive wake-up call. Stop pretending that it isn't important. So how does this relate to your Mary Kay life right now, for you right now? What's one thing you can do to improve your emotional management? A tip: expect better things and repeat those expectations in your brain and out loud. Ask yourself better questions, like, how am I feeling about this right now? Why am I feeling this way? How would I prefer to feel about this? What evidence can I find to support that feeling? Those questions, on many days, saved many days. Number 4, working when you can matters. We finished the cruise. And nothing short of a miracle of God, not wanting to let my little girl down, she looked me in the eyes after my accident and told me, "Mommy, it's okay if you don't earn the cruise. I'll be okay." I mean, really? Talk about a roller coaster of emotions, from I'm so mad that I can't work and the devil is an a-hole and bone-crushing heartache, hearing those words from the lips of your only daughter. And let me tell you, if it wasn't for me working up until the day of my accident, already bringing in 5 of my 6 qualifieds, it would not have happened. Let me be absolutely clear. God, by his grace, finished this cruise.
That's true. I mean, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
I needed a red jacket still at 11:30 p.m. on June 30th, and my one and only hope fell through. Here's what I want you to know. God provides when you do the work for him to bless. Do the work for him to bless. And when you are aligned with his purposes. Let me repeat that. God provides when you do the work for him to bless, and when you are aligned with his purposes. I worked, held classes, and personally recruited with the intention of finishing the cruise by the end of April, if not May. The devil had other plans, but God always gets the victory, always. I am so glad I worked when I did. Taking 90 to 120 days off work would have crippled my business if I had not been fully engaged in working when I had the opportunity to. Not to mention, while being off work, having a working unit supported by my amazing sales directors who are 360-degree leaders and DIQs to keep things moving. On a scale of 1 to 10, I invite you to 1 being, my business is not self-sustaining. 5, I could take a month or so off. And 10 being, I could take off as much time as I need. Where are you right now on that scale? Because what's the point? Not many people can sustain or grow a business if they were taken out of the game for a quarter of the year. Work while you can, and when you cannot. Making excuses and taking opportunities to grow when you're healthy while you're in softer seasons of life, so when the unexpected happens, you will be sustainable. Pam Shaw always says, when opportunity presents itself, it's too late to get prepared. Same thing in crisis. Do the hard work now. How does this relate to your business? Ask yourself, are you sustainable? Are you sustainable? And what is one thing you can do to improve that? Number 5, leaning on God matters, and being still matters. Never have I ever had to be completely off computers, phone, music, books for more than a few hours a day or so. I've taken a half day of prayer a few times to get close to God, and I fasted 72 hours without food, etc. But this was harder, like way harder. Someone who loves to be busy, who is an activator and thrives as an achiever. This was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, and it sounds so silly. But honestly, try it. Well, don't try it, but seclude yourself from humans for the most part for over 30 days. Take away all electronics, TV, phones, iPads, all music and books, and just sit with yourself and God. Think about 30 days of that. The fact that I even got through the first 2 weeks is a miracle in itself. I was stripped of everything: lights, sound, most human contact, music, my own guitar, my phone, my books. It was even a struggle to write, to journal, because I could see the words straight on the page as they would just trickle off to the side as I would writing them down. I couldn't keep them on the page. My vision couldn't keep them on the page. It was me, Tina. But Tina without social contact, Tina without social media, Tina without her personal growth habits, Tina without her music. It was Tina, raw, real, unplugged, and vulnerable to the only thing I truly needed to rely on: me and Jesus. January Jumpstart. Julia said something that rocked me to my core. She said that your prayer and spiritual life need to increase to the size of the impact that you want to make, or something to that nature. And I knew that my spiritual walk wasn't as big and wide as the impact I wanted to make. And after January Jumpstart, I added this prayer list on an Echo app that my directors and I share. And actually, this is a really cool app if you've never used it, but the prayer that I wrote, and this is in January, right after January Jumpstart, and so all my directors have been praying this for me all year so far, is this new year, I'm specifically increasing the time I spend on spiritual growth. Julia's training really convicted me that my prayer, affirmations, and spiritual life need to increase with the size of this goal. Please pray for me to be consistent and ready to tackle what God has for me this year. I want to grow so bad. I know God will bless this time, but I'm also anxious. That was written right after January Jumpstart. Little did I know what was in store for me on April 22nd, a day that changed my prayer life and my walk with God forever. Walking through this with Him allowed me to really be at peace with the fact that if everything was stripped away from me and I only had Jesus, that He is all I need. It was the sweetest gift I have ever received. So what's the point? Thank you. The point is, Jesus is our ultimate sustainer and life giver and source. Nothing else is more important, and I mean nothing. So how does this relate to your business? How reliant are you on things? Disclaimer, things aren't bad. But when you become attached to things, they drain you of the connected potential power you have through the one who created you. Remember, things aren't bad, but when you become attached to them, they drain you of the connected potential power you have through the one who created you. So what's the one thing you can do to improve your walk with God? Number 6, the habit of doing things you don't want to do matters. So cryotherapy is a new thing. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it, but it's where you subject yourself to something really awful. You jump into this chamber that's, I would say, like, how big would you say? It's no bigger than like 4x4, like 4x5 maybe, of a box, and it's basically a cooler, and the temperature is about negative 171 degrees Fahrenheit. You put yourself in there for 2.5 minutes. Thank you, Kristen, for being the wonderful friend that you are and doing it with me for the first time, either kicking and screaming. I know you did not want to do it. And that's a true friend right there, who will walk into a negative 171 degree chamber with you for 2.5 minutes and put yourself into hypothermic shock to heal 200 damaged muscles in your body just for your friend. That is love, my friend. And I did not want to do it. And the first 10 seconds are the worst, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
But then you're like, okay, beast mode, we're going to do this, you know? And you're there, and your body is literally freezing to death. And what happens when you're in cryo is all of the blood in your body constricts to the major organs in your body to keep you alive. And you're in there for 2.5 minutes. And then when you get out, your body flushes fresh oxygenated blood back into the rest of your body to heal you faster. I really thought about this because I didn't want to do it. And every time, I actually have a membership now. So I go twice a week to cryotherapy, and I freeze myself twice a week. You know, I think, you know, ever had those moments where, you know, we look back and remember back then when they used to do blah, 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 and it was so dumb, we don't do that anymore. I think that they're going to say that like 200 years from now about cryotherapy. But honestly, like, it's one of those things where the first 10 seconds are the worst, but if you can get through the first 10 seconds, you can get through the 2.5 minutes. And what's on the other side is remarkable because it feels like a full body high. You just feel so healthy and alive and fresh because you have fresh oxygenated blood flowing through your whole body. And it healed me. I believe it healed me faster because of that. It's kind of reminded me about making booking calls. Like the first 10 seconds are the worst. You know, like you just don't want to do it and you don't know what to say, you don't know what they're going to say, and there's so much anxiety. But once you get started, right, it's not so bad. And then you're like, okay, and you get some bookings, and like you're so happy with the result. Well, they also have localized cryo, where instead of getting in the whole chamber, you can just lay on a mat, and then they can find certain areas. Like Kristen got her neck done, and I've done my arm and my shoulder when I had my separated AC joint, like just localized, which helps. It's temporary. It's not as great, or you don't get as good of results as the whole body one, but you know, it's like a shortcut, kind of like text booking instead of calling. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody knows what I'm talking about. So what's the point? Stop avoiding uncomfortable tasks in your business. The outcome far surpasses the initial pain. Start doing things that make you uncomfortable, and it will help you develop the habit of growth. And I want you to ask yourself, how does this personally relate to me right now? Where do I need to get uncomfortable right now? What habits do I need to start doing every day that makes me uncomfortable, that will let me be less uncomfortable about being uncomfortable? And what's one thing you can do to be uncomfortable this week? Number 7, trusting people and the duplication process matters. I cannot tell you how completely over the moon happy and amazed at how the women I lead have completely owned their leadership over this challenging time in my life. When I started practicing my duplicatable leadership systems on Caitlin Underwood over a year ago, I had no idea how much they would not only sustain my business, but speed up the growth of our entire national area. Caitlin was the one that started the whole process of proving to me that these duplicatable systems work. With the help of these systems, she became a director who was super confident, and then who offspring Bree, who offspring Sierra, who offspring Sam, who now has a DIQ named Maddie. Having duplicatable systems to build leaders was always this like pie in the sky dream of mine since the first glimpse I ever had of becoming a national. And I will never forget Julia saying to me on the phone, "If anyone can come up with it, it's you, Tina." Julia, you have always made me believe I could do anything I put my mind to. Your faith in me was the catalyst to develop these 12 systems that work. And currently, we now have 5 lines in our future national area. And I think we can debut with 10 or more with these systems. And I believe that when I'm a national, the platform for growth as a company will be monumental. I'm so ready. And one more thing on duplicatable systems. They do not work if you don't trust the people and the process. But if you trust it, it creates growth and momentum without you putting in extra work. It's actually less stressful and freedom on a level I cannot describe. What's the point? Being duplicatable is the fastest way to grow and sustain your business, but trusting the people you lead is key. And how does this relate to you personally right now? And what is one thing you can do to be more duplicatable? Number 8, the enemy is real and knows when you are going to make a difference in the world. There is no doubt in my mind that the enemy wanted to use this accident to throw me off course, to slow me down, delay my progress, and discourage me in the pursuit of national. But what he didn't realize is who he was messing with and how big the God I serve is. You see, God always gets the final word, and he always gets the victory. In fact, he has already won. I had to share out loud that the enemy was not going to get a foothold and that God will work this out for good, and that hashtag only God will be the one who is glorified through this process and outcome. Hashtag only God became our hashtag immediately after my healing took a turn for the better. Our future area hashtag at this seminar is hashtag only God. Because ultimately, how you handle your health matters. Who you hang around matters. What you tell yourself matters. Working when you can matters. Getting in the habit of doing what you don't want to do matters. Trusting people you lead and being duplicatable matters. But ultimately, only God could have brought about in me where I am today from where I have been. Only God could have healed me as fast as he has with the seriousness of my injury. And only God can use this experience for good and build opportunities to build his kingdom and help people in ways I have never done before. I can't do that on my own. Only God. To him be all the glory. He is so good. So what do I want you to take away from this? It's not what you look at, but it's what you see. April 22nd. April 22nd. April 22nd was one of the best gifts of my life.
To think of what you had to revisit, reflect on, bottom line it, chunk it down. Think of the mental energy really it took to put all that together. Not to mention to deliver it today after a late night last night and flying in and all of that. You're truly a remarkable human being, Tina. Tina 2.0. Yeah, I'm so glad that we started our day off with you, because I think it was an important moment in time to mark it with a rock and say, I will remember, and I will take the good and take the lesson and move forward. And we know that God has already done a massive, great thing, and it's only going to get better and better. Wow. So would you all like to take a moment to affirm Tina? Who would like to affirm Tina? Amanda. Go for it.
Only God. You, as I was listening to you train, your ability to communicate has always been a gift. But as I was sitting there, like, it's not Tina 2.0, it's like Tina 100.0.
Oh.
For all of her Tina, I have never heard you train the way you just did. And I know it probably also was the most challenging, yet God used that. Your way of communicating is a gift, and I cannot wait for the whole company to hear that, because God has gifted that with you. Like, I'm so glad.
Thank you, Amanda. Well said. Jana?
Sorry that we haven't been able to be in each other's space, but I knew I wanted to finish directorship because of my own personal reasons in life and to make Chelsea proud, but I wanted to make you proud, and I wanted to do this for you, and so I'm so glad I get to be in your space, and I love you, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
I've prayed that I'd be the type of woman that could take anything and walk with the Lord through it no matter what. And I just, like, just a testimony to what the Lord has done in your life to say, go ahead, Satan. You see my Tina? You see my Tina? Go ahead and try it. You don't even know what you're in for. It's a Job moment of just beauty to say, you see her? Go ahead and try. Because she's going to rise up stronger, more powerful. I'm going to work in her in ways that she's never seen before. She's going to impact lives of women in ways that she couldn't have done otherwise, but go ahead and try it. You think? Just wait and see what I have in store. I am ecstatic about what the Lord is doing through you. I'm honored to even just see a little tiny piece of what it is that he's doing in it through you, and the hope and encouragement that that brings to others. I love you.
Thank you.
of excellence, and that watching you changes me, and it's just such a beautiful gift.
Well said. Thank you, Jenny. All right.
So I just cannot wait for your story to be told from stage. I feel like when we debut on, oh, I have chills. When we debut on stage, it's almost like we're going to be able to just all take a bow. When you look at what we have all been through as a future national area this past years, holy cow. And you are so different. And I'm so glad that this happened because it's going to, I mean, I'm glad you picked. But it's like the adversity is what makes us the better version that we could only, it's the journey that we needed to take and that was planned for us. And I'm just so grateful that you got to have that in this time and to show people, and yet still we will finish what we started. And the impact that that's going to have from stage when you debut, they're not going to be words.
Thank you. Are you standing up?
Yeah, but she was standing up.
All right. Oh, see, right. Last one. See, or unless you have something.
I just want to thank you so much for the person that you are because, oh my goodness, I've been wanting this whole time. Now I'm actually crying. I came here last year with two active team members. And if it wasn't for you and your leadership and your grace, I wouldn't be here as a senior sales director. And I'm just thankful for the person you are and that God has worked his work through you and that you were okay. Okay. So just thank you. I don't have one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sierra.
You've always led us by example. I mean, always. And you've never given us something to do, to learn without having done it before. So I always had this confidence in, well, if Tina says, it's because, right? Because she's done it and she's walked it. This is something that you've now, it's added this new level of your understanding to us. And I've never seen someone like be so dedicated to getting better. And I've been around a lot of sick people, and the way you are so dedicated, it just made me think there's no room for a pity party ever. Because if Tina can do that, I mean, shoot, anybody can do anything. And I just am so proud of you, and I'm so like honored to be in your space and to be able to, like, if you can do it, I can learn from that and do so much. So thank you for almost getting, I don't know, I want to talk about that. But I'm just so proud of you. And thank you for trying new things. And that's totally Tina too, out of the box. Okay, let's go freeze ourselves. We're going to get better.
Best thing ever, you all need to try.
So I'm just so proud of you. And when Tina tells you that she's to try something, it's because she's tried it and it's worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Tina just said that cryotherapy would be the next star outing. That's so awesome. That's a really good idea. Can I come up for that? I love it. And for all of those in the Mary Kay national area, you know, maybe you weren't even aware that this happened, but it really did like drop a bomb in our entire national area. I mean, not only the DNA, the future DNA area, but for all of us, we were all rocked because of this. And so I think this is this has been important and necessary at a moment to like kind of work through that and like put a lid on it and go, okay, check, this is what we took from that, and we're moving on. Tina, what I want you to say is when you were speaking, I feel like listening to you, I saw the character of a woman who is not only a national sales director, but really beyond. Like what you gave us today was beyond. It's like the top of your peer group, if that makes sense. Like someone that I can see that will impact the Mary Kay world in a legacy kind of way, like in an Ann Newberry kind of way, you know, like a name that will go beyond. And I feel like, dang, you just really got started. I mean, like this is, it's new. It's new, and he is doing a new thing, and it's beautiful, and I'm excited I get to be a part of it. And thank you for the way that you always love me and affirm me and encourage me, and just blow me away constantly. So I love you, Tina. Thank you.